skip. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready.
Steal.
What word?
Steal.
Yes, steal. Read these words the fast way. Get ready.
Play.
Yes, play. Get ready.
Must.
Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready.
Kite.
Yes, kite. Get ready.
Kit.
Yes, kit. Get ready.
Steal.
Yes, steal. Get ready.
Play.
Yes, playing. Get ready.
Must.
Yes, must. Boys and girls, pick your reader up from under your seat. Open your book up to lesson 60 on page 153. At the count of 3, everyone should be on page 153. If the yellow paper is going to bother you, drop it. Thank you. Everybody touch the title of your story. Fingers under the title. Get ready to read the title the fast way. We're waiting for one member. Thank you. Fingers under the title of the story. Get ready.
The cat go.
Yes, the cat go. Fingers under the first word of the story. Get ready to read the story the fast way. Get ready.
A girl had a pet goat.
Go on.
She likes to go running with her pet goat.
Go on.
She played with her tail.
Try it again. Get ready from the beginning of that sentence. Get ready.
She played with her goat in her house.
Go on.
It's the weekend, so it's time for another MAGA Minute. Let's roll through it. Consumer confidence surged in May with its biggest monthly jump in 4 years. U.S. new home sales jumped to its highest rate since 2022 as home prices continue to fall. And for the first time in the history of Rasmussen polling, a majority of respondents said the country is on the right track. In a huge win for the MAHA movement, Skittles agreed to remove titanium dioxide from their products as a result of the administration's hard work. The president signed several executive orders this week to restore the gold standard of science and reinvigorate our nuclear energy industry. President Trump also gave the commencement address at West Point, and on Memorial Day, he visited Arlington National Cemetery to pay tribute to the fallen heroes whose sacrifice has kept our nation free. The administration also sent a letter calling on all federal agencies to cancel their wasteful government contracts with Harvard University as Harvard continues to engage in nonsensical race-based discrimination. The president hosted a press conference with Elon Musk to celebrate the rooting out of fraud, waste, and abuse in our government led by Doge. And the president traveled to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to announce a planned partnership between U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel that will create at least 70,000 jobs and equates to a $14 billion investment in Pennsylvania. That's it for this week's MAGA Minute. We'll see you next week as we get closer to passing the one big, beautiful bill.
Wait, you're right. Wait, why does he have 2 clip-on mics? One for backup, maybe? Wait. One for backup, maybe? Bro.
My name is Egon Chalakian. I am a part.
This is 10 months ago. Wait, so is he real? Is it real? Look at the background pictures. Wait, I can't tell if I'm mind myself. Maybe it's just low resolution? Bro, I'm losing my mind. What is this? Look at the book names. They don't have names. They don't have any names. They don't have any names. Nothing looks right in this. Is he posing for a picture? What is this? It's... Wait, hold on. What is... Photo on his website? The real photo. Wait, are these hands real? I don't know what I don't even know I don't know what's happening right now. Wait, the women's faces are at the exact same angle. People are saying it's like the exact same face. Is it though? No. Hold on. No. Wait. It is fake. This is a fake picture. Oh.
The United States is a privately owned company. It's a corporation. It does not represent the American people at all. The American flag is not an American flag, it's a U.S. flag. It's a flag that was designed for the corporation. And the stripes are totally different on an American flag than what they are on a U.S. flag. You ask a person today in America, how many states are in the Union of America? They'll tell you there's 50 states. No, there's 100 states in the corporation, not 50. Because there are 2 states within California. Within every state, there are 2 states. There's a state of California, and then there's a California state. So in America, in the United States, you have to understand that there's 2 different operations going on simultaneously, but the people have no idea. All they know is it's California. No, there's California state, which is the state itself, and then there's the state of California, which is a federal corporation operating within the state called California. Now, how many Americans understand any of this? How many Americans even care? The reason why most people are not interested in the kind of information that I've been talking about, because my work has nothing to do with basketball or the silly, nonsensical, little childish games that they give us adults to play. And you want to be entertained, so we go watch a ball game.
Seeing those numbers repeat themselves in your awareness means you're aware. So the fact that you are aware means that the powers that be, your creator, is giving you a nudge, telling you that you're on the right track. It's a positive sign. Keep doing it. Be conscious when you're doing it. And if you can, try to be aware of what you're conscious of at that moment when you see those numbers repeat. Were you angry? Were you happy? Were you depressed? What was your state of mind when you saw those? It's a way for you to continue to raise your consciousness, which is why we reincarnated on this planet in the first place, is to have experiences that would help us to raise our consciousness and become a better human being from the lessons that we learn, especially the hurtful and the dangerous ones.
Interesting the other day. McDonald's reportedly sells around 6.5 million burgers a day. That adds up to nearly 200 million burgers every single month. Now think about that. I don't see cows roaming around in massive herds waiting to be made into patties. Even if you could stretch one cow into a bunch of burgers, you'd still need millions of cows every day. And that got me thinking, where are all these cows coming from? Is there some ultra-secret mega ranch hidden deep underground? Are they cloning meat in labs or manufacturing beef behind closed doors? Most people laugh at the idea, but really, when's the last time you saw a cattle farm big enough for this scale? And don't say imported beef, even with global supply. The numbers feel off. I'm not saying the burgers are fake. I'm just asking what no one else is. What exactly are we eating? Because if it's not cows,
I'm just a warming on the face of the earth, teaching so many people who are trying to be quite literally been lied to about everything. They have created this Truman Show type simulation to keep the general public distracted from the truth, distracted from the biblical events that are actually happening in our world. And one of these events is actually the war in Iraq. Everybody meet Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was an ancient Sumerian king who ruled in what we now know is modern-day Iraq. And he was a 17 to 20 foot giant. He was a demigod, which means he was half human and half god. Now, if you know your Bible, and if you followed my stories before on ancient Egyptian history and how we've been lied to, you know that these giants actually existed, and they were demonic human hybrids that ruled and ravaged the earth. Now, Gilgamesh was a barbaric king. He built up and ruled over the city of Uruk, which is, again, modern-day Iraq. Now, you and I were taught that this is all just mythology, just like the ancient Egyptian half-animal, half-human gods that we read about. But when you read the Bible, you understand that this all, in fact, actually happened. So what does he have to do with the war in Iraq? This brings us to 2003, when German archaeologist Jörg Fassbinder was digging in modern-day Iraq, and he thought he found the city of Uruk.
Gilgamesh was simply a figment of myth. That was until Jörg Fassbinder and his team of archaeologists, using modern technology to look deep into the ground, discovered an entire ancient city beneath the desert, astonishingly laid out just as the city of Uruk, over which Gilgamesh had purportedly reigned, was described in the epic. There were houses and gardens and fields alongside an incredibly sophisticated system of canals, leading archaeologists to describe the site as Venice in the desert. More importantly, on the outskirts of the ancient city was what appeared to be a burial site, which archaeologists believed to be the tomb of the ancient king.
So Jörg goes to the authorities, tells them he thinks that he found the city of Uruk and possibly the tomb of Gilgamesh, and 5 months later, we invade Iraq. Now here's where it gets crazy, because not only did we invade Iraq immediately after his findings, our military builds a base directly over the ruins. Anyway, it's not a secret that the USA established a base in the old Babylonian city, destroyed some historical artifacts, and also took with them many of the artifacts. They constructed buildings and helicopter landing pads in the ancient city. It's not a secret that they were searching for something very important.
There were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
And, something's wrong. It's a whole world of deceit. We're going into Iraq to get artifacts, not to get anything but artifacts. That was the most important thing, they said.
But which artifacts?
I don't know. They just said artifacts. There were things in Iraq that were so old that we had to go get. And Bush wanted those artifacts. It was very important.
Did we get them, and if so, where did they go?
We got them. They said they got everything they needed from that country.
Where is it?
I don't know. We have it.
Saddam Hussein was building a massive reconstruction of Babylon near the ancient city. Was he trying to hide something huge? Is that why the US decided to invade Iraq so fast and acquire the ancient relic? Everything in our world is biblical. Everything. All of the wars that are fought are biblical. It goes back to the Bible. It goes back to the demonic forces that are still alive today, the evidence of the demonic forces that are all around our world that they don't want you and I to know about. And if you go on the Department of State's website and type in Gilgamesh, you are actually brought to the formal request for the ancient tomb of Gilgamesh. They were requesting his body from the burial site. So when we invaded Iraq, we went in and just took it all, and we actually had to return it. There's even an email from WikiLeaks that says requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the location of his body, and the location of the buried Nephilim. Our entire world is biblical. All over our world is evidence of the Bible, evidence of the giants, evidence of the Nephilim, evidence of all these ancient civilizations that are written about in the Bible. But unfortunately, our world is controlled by Satan. Our government is ran by Satan. So what does our government do? It comes in and it covers it up.
In 2003, German archaeologists announced a significant discovery in Iraq at what they believed to be the tomb of the legendary King Gilgamesh, a central figure in the ancient Sumerian epic bearing his name. Just 5 months later, Iraq was invaded by the United States. Amidst the ensuing conflict, the Iraq National Museum in Baghdad was looted. This looting wasn't a random act of chaos. It appeared to be a well-coordinated operation, employing shaped charges and other professional techniques. Thousands of invaluable artifacts, including those with potential connections to the Anunnaki, were stolen. The figure of Gilgamesh is often depicted as a giant in ancient texts. Interestingly, there are modern accounts of soldiers encountering giant figures in the Middle Eastern deserts, sparking further speculation about the connections between ancient myths and contemporary events. Following the invasion, the U.S. military established a base in the ancient city of Babylon. This presence led to the destruction of some historical artifacts, and numerous items were taken from the site. It is widely believed that the military was searching for something of significant historical and possibly esoteric value. The city of Nimrud was founded more than 3,300 years ago. It was one of the capitals of the Assyrian Empire. The Iraqi government has confirmed that the site was attacked by armed extremists using bulldozers on the 5th of March, 2015. Why would so many powerful entities and governments go to such lengths to acquire or destroy these ancient Sumerian artifacts? What secrets could these relics hold? Are we on the brink of uncovering advanced technologies from a forgotten era? Or perhaps the remnants of a stargate capable of bridging worlds? Could these artifacts be linked to the technology of the Anunnaki? Or even the legendary Nephilim? The answers remain hidden beneath the sands of time. In the end, we are left to ponder. What truths lie within these ancient artifacts? And why do they hold such a profound and enduring allure?
Threaten my people with slavery and death. This is madness! Madness. This is Sparta!
Rome is in the middle of the Americas. It's all a Roman corporation. Every time I see the Mexican flag, I see the Italian flag because it's exactly the same minus the Roman eagle. Rome, which runs Mexico, in fact, Mexico is the center, Mesoamerica, it's the center of the Americas. This is where the Jesuits came, installed their Inquisition. Mexico had a violent, vicious Inquisition. They're telling you in your face, if you know what you're looking for, they've got the eagle, the Roman eagle, right in the middle of the green, red, and white, exactly the same as the Italian flag, which comes from the Persian flag, which is horizontally green, white, and red. Because the Roman elite families, the Farneses in particular, the Orsini, the Pallavicinis, Aldobrandinis, they're all from Persian. They're all Iranians.
Riding the storm out, waiting for the thaw out, on a full moon night in the Rocky Mountain winter. I wind by the snow, watching for the snow. I've been thinking lately of what I'm missing in the city, and I'm not missing a thing. Watching the full moon crossing the range, riding the storm out, riding the storm out, riding the storm out, riding the storm out.
So did you know that Elon Musk's younger brother, Kimball Musk, owns a drone entertainment company? Drone entertainment company. This company's called Nova Sky Stories, and they create massive drone light shows. You've probably seen them at events like the Super Bowl or even the Olympics. It all started after Kimball saw a magical drone show at Burning Man. He was so inspired, he bought Intel's entire drone light show division, 9,000 drones. Now, Nova Sky Stories combines tech and art to create mind-blowing aerial displays. Here's the coolest part. They work with top artists and producers to bring these stories to life, making your favorite events unforgettable. But we're talking about entertainment drones. Not New Jersey mystery drones.
Captain Cook went to Australia and put the Rothschild Windsor flag on Aboriginal land, but they were already in their buildings in Sydney and Melbourne. They were already there.
You're saying some of these buildings are thousands of years old.
Tartarian. It comes from Russia, and just near Moscow to the east you'll see modern-day Tatar Empire, which is not legally in Russia but physically in Russia. When the Bolsheviks from Wall Street destroyed Russia and killed 100 million Christians and set up Bolshevik Russian systems, they destroyed the Tartarian
Empire.
Yes. And even in Germany, Dresden and all of that, that was Tartaria. They had to destroy America, Russia, and Germany because they were just too advanced in Tartarian free energy, magnetism. All of those turrets and towers and all those beautiful, highly ornamented Edwardian and Georgian so-called buildings were harvesting magnetic energy. So what they did was to enslave people, you've got to make them pay for their energy. Before it was free. We had free energy, free food, everything was free. So what they did, the Colonna family went westward and the Venetians, they went eastward. What they did was control their courts. Not to control the lands and everything, like Rothschild said, I don't care who makes the laws, I want to control the purse strings, the money.
Money.
That's Venetian.
Keep out of the reach of children under 6 years of age. Don't you want to teach your kids to brush their teeth? You can't give them toothpaste, but you're told that they need the fluoride so that they get healthy teeth and no cavities, aren't you? If accidentally swallowed, mind you, kids don't have the capability yet of spitting out this toothpaste. If it's accidental, but they flavor it like candy, they make it look like candy. Get medical help or contact the Poison Control Center right away. Did you know there was poison? They mark it, they tell you so. Most people don't read this. Even if you spit it out, the mouth and the mucous membrane in the mouth is highly absorptive, and you get this poison.
Our projections show that by the year 2025, not only America, but the entire planet will be under the protection and the dominion of this power alliance. The gains have been substantial, both for ourselves and for you, the human power elite. You have given us entree to the resources we need in our ongoing quest for multidimensional expansion. And in return, the per capita income of each of you here tonight has grown, in this year alone, by an average 39%. And I've just received word that our forces have won a major victory. The underground terrorist network has been destroyed here on the West Coast. We are off crisis alert. The situation is normal again.
Dr. Hashimoto, Managing Director and Chief of Research for the Fuji Electronic Industries, has constructed special instruments which translate the electrical output of plants into modulated sounds, giving voice to a cactus. Relying on her affinity for plants, Mrs. Hashimoto looks forward to actual conversation with her cactus.
まあ、可愛がってる
Convinced that it possesses an intelligence, she is determined to teach it the Japanese alphabet.
って言ってからなさい。おーはおーはそう、おーね。まだ
30 days in a row. 30 days in a row. 30 days in a row. Oh, all right. Yeah. All right, all right, all right, all right. Chicago green, talking about black Lebanese. A dirty room, a silver cup spoon. Give me my release. Woo, come on, black Nepalese. It's got me weak in the knees. See some dust that you got bust on. You know it's so hard to please. 30 days in a row. 30 days in a row. All right. 30 days in a row. 30 days in a row. Yeah. Newcastle Brown, tell it sure smack you down, yeah. Rats are crazy, oh, the rolling dance floor. It's got your head spinning round. If you live on the road, yeah, new highway code, yeah. Some urban noise and some dirty poor sound. It's gonna lessen your load. 30 days in a row. 30 days in a row. 30 days in a row. Yeah. 30 days in a row. Oh, yeah. Ooh, baby. Ooh. Black Nepalese, it's got you weak in your knees. You're gonna sneeze some dust, but you got bust on. Got you so hard to please. Newcastle Brown, yeah, gonna smack you right down. Take it greasy, oh, the rolling dance floor. You know you're jailhouse bound. 30 days in a row. Woo! 30 days in a row. Come on, boy. 30 days in a row. 30 days in a row. Wow, 30 days. Woo. Yeah. 30 days in a row. 30 days out. That's home. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I've cracked the code. I figured out the shadow organizations and the Illuminati know that they're finally primed for world domination. And soon you've got black helicopters coming across the border, puppet masters for the new world order. Be aware, there's always someone that's watching you, and still the government won't admit they faked a whole moon landing. Thought control race, psychotronic scanning, don't mind that. protected cause I made this hat from aluminum foil. Where it had this foil line in case an alien's inclined to probe your butt or read your mind. Looks a bit peculiar. Seems a little crazy, but someday I'll prove there's a big conspiracy.
I passed away in the river.
By yourself?
With you.
Oh, with me?
Yes.
I was with you?
I want to pass away again.
You are?
I want to again.
You want to again?
Yes.
Why?
Because I don't want to be here.
You don't want to be here?
No. I will come back soon.
You will come back soon?
I will come back here soon as...
Where's my grandma? Where is she?
Up in heaven. What did she do to make her go up in heaven?
She was just very old.
Did your grandma almost couldn't walk?
She was old. She could walk, but she was old.
Mommy, your grandma's here. And she says, "Hi, Jamila."
What?
Your grandma's here. And she says, "Hi, Jamila."
Her mommy explained there was no way she could know this name because she was called Jamala 30 years ago by her grandmother while growing up and never told it to
I wish
her.
I could be a pirate again.
When were you a pirate?
I was a long time ago when you weren't alive, and then I shrunk into a little kid.
Power leads man towards arrogance. Poetry reminds him of his limitations. When power narrows the areas of man's concern, poetry reminds him of the richness and diversity of his existence. When power corrupts, poetry cleanses. What kind of a peace do I mean, and what kind of a peace do we seek? Not a Pax Americana, enforced on the world by American weapons of war. Not the peace of the grave or the security of the slave. I am talking about genuine peace, the kind of peace that makes life on earth worth living, the kind that enables men and nations to grow and to hope and build a better life for their children. Not merely peace for Americans, but peace for all men and women. Not merely peace in our time, but peace in all time. I speak of peace, therefore, as the necessary, rational end of rational men. I realize the pursuit of peace is not as dramatic as the pursuit of war, and frequently the words of the pursuers fall on deaf ears. But we have no more urgent task. Our problems are man-made, therefore they can be solved by man, and man can be as big as he wants. No problem of human destiny is beyond human beings. Man's reason and spirit have often solved the seemingly unsolvable, and we believe they can do it again. And if we cannot end now our differences, at least we can help make the world safe for diversity. For in the final analysis, our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's futures, and we are all mortal.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of a dark black night. into the light of a dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life you were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise.
Hey, Patriots. Good afternoon. It's good to see you guys. So, the news was kind of, getting away from me today, and I thought it'd be good to get on here and not only go over a few of the stories we missed from yesterday from the perspectives that we usually do, but also looking at a couple new things and catching up on part of a conversation we never really finished yesterday. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at some of our good old favorite Patriots afterwards. And I'm going to go quick through some of these that I'm hoping that you've seen by now, like Mount Etna. Some of these, there's not much to see, but that's why I'm going to go quickly through these stories. Volcano, another volcano. Explodes, that one had some people on it. The Earth is blowing up. Captain Kyle kind of summed up the past few days for us. Elon gives us the black eye comms, the geomagnetic storm coming, the Trump repost of Biden being executed. The ball has been called Delta, the June 2nd blackout Delta. You could say things are heating up, literally and figuratively. I like this post, frankly. It sort of takes me right back to the whole point of yesterday. He says, we all got questions, but he posts I on there. I get it. What's going on right now in this world, it's certainly not about any single one of us, as much as some of us like to make it that way, and I hope I'm not one of those people, but it's interesting today. A lot more people are talking about questions. Of course, that was kind of expected after a post like that from Trump. Somebody, I think it might have been Captain Kyle, asked everyone to take a look again at this particular post, and we probably should. It's a good post. We're at war, the scare necessary event, the scare event. You were chosen for a reason. Protect and comfort those around you. It gets hard to do sometimes, doesn't it, guys? And as much as some of these people are good at it, on the other hand, I know they're asking these questions too, because I do read their posts, like I've said, but maybe you just have to put on a tough face at times. Maybe that's the goal, but we'll get back to that. Everybody's putting this up. The month of June is now being declared Veteran Appreciation Month by We the People, and this is really making the rounds, so I kind of had to share it. Veteran Appreciation Month. I'm happy with that. Very much should have that already, shouldn't we? This is an interesting post because this is an account that's long believed to be Donald Trump himself using an alias. Deport every single Muslim terrorist out of the country right fucking now. Islam is not compatible with American values. Now get the fuck out. Kind of has to makes you kind of have to rethink that, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that is his opinion. I don't know. It's weird timing to pop up, though, don't you think, with everything happening? And as we always find, the questions we had yesterday have answers today. We had questions yesterday like, what was the purpose of Trump posting that when he did? And I do think I found a pretty good answer for that. And I'll find it here in just a moment. Somebody had to point this out, of course, the gay pride flag hanging up at the courthouse at the Boulder terrorist event. This guy, I don't know, he kind of looks like your average white guy to me, but he's supposedly an illegal that came into the country during the Biden administration, to be specific, according to the media reports. And I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of this by now. Stephen Miller's post. Terror attack was committed in Boulder, Colorado by an illegal alien. He was granted a tourist visa by the Biden admin, and then he illegally overstayed that visa. In response, the Biden admin gave him a work permit. Suicidal migration must be fully reversed. Really love Stephen Miller. He's definitely growing on me. I don't know what to make of this little event. I would call it just that. Some kind of little nonsensical event, but I think I showed some of these yesterday.
We're here. We can't do nothing about that. We can't do nothing.
I mean, this is your average Friday night in Illinois, so I don't know what's up in Colorado, guys, but I see this like every Friday. Maybe not throwing Molotov cocktails, but throwing bottles.
Well, we can't do it when he's got Molotov cocktails in it.
Was it a terrorist attack or your average idiot? I don't know, but I'm not bullshitting you when you say you see that every night, places like this.
Today, June 1st, a terror attack occurred at Boulder's Pearl Street Mall, injuring 6 people, some with burns, during a peaceful demonstration for Israeli hostages held in Gaza. The suspect who has been charged is 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Solomon, an Egyptian national.
You know what this story was really good at distracting you from? Because you probably didn't see it because you saw this all over the news. It's because Israel bombed a bunch of innocent people trying to feed a bunch of hungry Gazans over there. And, you know, a bunch of people got killed just getting in line to eat. And a bunch of people got killed just trying to feed the hungry. And that's the hungry that are there thanks to Israel's blockade, which is pure and utter evil, really. And if you don't see it as much... if you don't see it as anything other than starving out an entire nation of people, I don't know what to call it, but it's sickening. And I think that's exactly what this bullshit was about, just distracting you from more of what's going on over there. Or the fact that Israel is warning people to get out of there because they're about to attack again and yada yada. We'll look at more of that. Some people jokingly, but, you know, it's something that Democrats would do to us, said, you know, Cory Booker, He didn't know he did it. He did that Nazi salute because he put his hand up like that. And maybe that's why this thing in Boulder, Colorado happened. Yeah, I'm not going to go that far, but it's a funny thought. Uh-oh. God. Ridiculous. Of course, these are making the rounds still, but like I said, I do believe I found a good answer, simple answer, really. And right now, they're about to exploit the health situation. And that's something we were told a long time ago, that about the time that justice time came, there would be these health situations. And Trump putting up a post like that sort of is like a really interesting chess move that I am fascinated now at this point. Yeah. I mean, if you were on the left right now, would you even have any idea what to do after that post, other than your usual, oh, Trump's insane, he's nuts? And I mean, at this point, they're like, okay, the American people want to know why he had cancer and didn't have cancer, and had cancer, didn't have cancer, and then this pops up on top of it. It's kind of piling up. And it's going to be interesting to see the defense that the Democrats start trying to play, because I think that calling Trump insane cards just running dry, and I don't think their own people are buying it anymore, clearly. So what do you guys think? Does it make any sense at all? Is it about blocking a move with their whole blah, blah, blah stuff, the health stuff? It's a thought. It's a starter. I did like this little addition to it, though. When will they ask the question? Well, by God, that was the topic of conversation yesterday, wasn't it? Don't you know it's going to go hard? We may have to force this one. Smooth transition is best. Don't you like it when the universe just lines up how it's supposed to? Now, I wanted to show you this for a minute because, well, Jason Miller, it's clearly a clone. I have to disagree with this, and I'm going to show you why, but it's definitely a different Joe Biden than the Joe Biden people were probably used to seeing at the time, but it's just somebody wearing a mask is what it is. And the chin isn't sticking very well.
Virtually every mass shooting, every circumstance where a large number of people have been victimized and lost, I spoke to them. I learned a long time ago what you've all learned in your life.
He's trying not to talk too hard to make it move anymore. He's holding his hand up. He's clearly aware that the mask is coming off at the fucking neck. I say that's a mask, but that's me. What do you guys think? So this gets more interesting. This was I almost thought it was a joke, but Zelensky says Ukraine ready to take necessary steps for peace. And then I remembered they did have their whole sit-down peace talks in Istanbul after an interesting day of bombing yesterday. And after the whole thing, it didn't seem like they could agree on even whether they agreed or not. But before all that,
we must do everything to make sure diplomacy is not empty. Our delegation is now in Istanbul, and we are ready to take the necessary steps for peace. Naturally, the starting point should be a ceasefire and humanitarian actions, the release of...
Let me ask you this. Do you think anyone on the left is buying that anymore? And how could anybody put any logic behind the situation over there? He taxed him yesterday, wants peace today. And I know it's smoke and mirrors, but smoke and mirrors leading to an ultimate, probably scare event, like they were saying in that Q post at the beginning. But the point is to wake people up, right? If I'm not mistaken. So, is it doing it? I would hope. I mean, I don't know. There are people that don't pay much attention to this stuff, I guess. Where's all the money we sent the clown? All over the place. All that money, I mean, they make you, what do they make you think? It all goes into dumbs and stuff like that. That's probably another bullshit tactic too. I'll show you something cool I found today. Wasn't gonna show it in this order. Wasn't actually sure if I was gonna show it at all, but I was surprised where I found it at. And so, the debate about, flat earth, round earth. What if we're both? But not both technically. Round, but just with an ice wall. This was from, oh God, who put this up? I wouldn't have even shared this if it wasn't a fairly... This is allegedly a genuine map of Earth's surface from the UN document archives, revealing not only familiar continents, but also the long-lost lands of Atlantis and Lemuria, which I can't read anything on the map clear enough to tell you that, but the person who shared it, I felt, it was interesting. It's interesting. It's a question. These attacks yesterday. Let's look at what people are saying about them, because this is sort of what I meant to talk about last night at some point. Most of you have probably seen these little drone videos by now. This is supposed to be of the actual attack, the actual Ukrainian drones flying and blah, blah, blah. I find it interesting that the one country that can never see any video I make, no matter what on YouTube, the one country always blocked is Russia. And I wonder if there's a little more to that than, I wonder what they say about what's going on. I'd like to have a good conversation with the Russian person, but of all the people you can speak to in the world on the internet, they seem to like to make sure you don't talk to Russian people, I guess. And the Chinese, the way they run their social media and their media and what they did with CapCut recently, that's some gnarly shit right there. That's, I don't even know. It's like extortion. Anyway, all right, let's look at what people were kind of saying about this different stuff. And I know I pointed out yesterday, people were arguing and debating whether the Trump administration knew anything about this. And there's supposed to be this deeper thing happening, this Operation Spider's Web. And of course, we all know that Ukraine's got a lot of European countries behind it and other powerful people pushing it. This was from SG Anon. If anyone thinks the nearly beaten Ukraine, which has lost 500,000 plus soldiers in a 36-month period, managed to pull off a covert, wide area, multi-domain, multi-terrain, infiltrate, sabotage, and destroy military operation over more than 1,000 square miles of inland Russia without NATO's assistance, I've got some beachfront property in Siberia I'd like to sell. So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of stating the obvious. Well, I mean, should be. This is from BioClandestine. So Ukraine just launched massive drone. It's interesting because these posts kind of change later on. The Trump admin confirmed they were not informed of the attack. This was kind of early on yesterday. Let me see if I can bring up where it goes later. We looked at that. They were talking about the submarine areas burning. And then this came up. Russia's calling for a limited nuclear strike against Ukraine. This was all before the talks today. The talks today, supposedly, if you listen to one channel, went well. If you listen to another channel, not so great. We'll start with the more positive one.
We're going to head straight to Istanbul, where those talks have wrapped up. We have Ukraine's deputy foreign minister who is speaking, detailing what exactly went on during those face-to-face discussions.
Necessary to identify them. We know where these children are, and we ask the Russians to fulfill their international obligations and to bring these kids back home to Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the delegation. I will stay with the press. We thank you. We'll let you make your...
In short, they said there was going to be a nice little prisoner swap and a bit of a ceasefire. And then the next minute, it was all like Russia didn't agree to any of that. And this story's kind of boring me. Sorry. I'm ready to move on to some other stuff I'd like to show you guys. I found this interesting. Let me show you this. Just listen and then realize that this is from within a few days ago.
How many times has Trump got to tell you before the election, let's face it, Joe's shot? Just put your finger out, point at somebody, and go, let's face it, Joe's boom.
Joe is shot. Let's face it, Joe is shot.
It says 2 years ago.
How many times has Trump got to tell you before the election,
No,
let's
that
face
video
it, Joe's
there's
shot? Just put your finger out, point at somebody, and go,
interesting.
let's face it, Joe's boom.
Joe is shot.
I'm
Let's
trying
face
to
it, Joe is
remember
shot.
the date -48. They said that he died because it doesn't seem like a timeline adds up right there. Anyway, I was organized this morning and I went to a funeral. Here's an interesting video after our spiel yesterday.
Okay, let's use common sense and logical thinking, and let's go back to the Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell event. Why was nothing done? Like, why were those the only two people held accountable for one of the largest child trafficking rings to be uncovered? And it included celebrities, politicians, kings, princes, okay? People all across our government, Republican, Democrats. Just so you got to ask like a logical question. Why was nobody held accountable? And then you can come to the reasonable conclusion that they're all part of it. They're all part of this large pedophile ring. Like, we have pedophiles running our government. We have pedophiles in our police departments. We have pedophiles in child protective services. We have pedophiles as judges. That's who we've let run our country, America. And all we have to do is come together and speak up as one nation. Say no more. Like that, it's that simple. That's how throughout history people have ended stuff. By using their voice and becoming a family. The power in numbers and the power in your voice. That's what stops stuff, because they get really scared. There's not many of them. There's not many of those pedophiles. But we've checked out so much that we've allowed them to take control of almost all facets of our lives. Pedophile, clown, pedophiles. That's who runs our show. Now we just speak up and we end it. Together, one nation, okay? God's army, God's plan, that's all of us. I read a news article in the mainstream.
Pretty sad we ever let it get to that right there, right? Bunch of clown pedos running the country. The world, actually. Doesn't it make you want to make sure it never happens again? Like, really bad. All right, let's look at some couple interesting videos going around here. I want to point out. And then I got to show you something from Juan.
Stargate. Put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure.
The data centers are actually under construction. The first of them are under construction in Texas, the Abilene location, which is our first location.
Abilene is a town on the western central plains of Texas. We kind of scratch and fight for everything good that comes our way.
I had people reaching out and they said, well, is the president going to come see you? And I said, well, he hasn't texted me yet, so.
I'm thrilled we get to do this in the United States of America. I think this will be the most important project of this era.
Welcome to Abilene, Texas. This is the site of Project Stargate, a very mysterious, much talked about, much speculated about project that brings together OpenAI, SoftBank, Oracle. If it all comes together, building after building on this red dirt behind me will be filled with chips that'll power the AI revolution.
What we're undergoing right now is sort of the largest infrastructure build in human history. It's going to create new ways of doing business, it's going to create new ways of invention, and it's going to really drive humanity forward.
I knew I had some missing posts. I forgot to check the other folder. So I want to talk about these real quick, because I don't want to keep talking about Ukraine and Russia particularly, but it's interesting because some of these posts today seem to change from this is all smoke and mirrors to maybe this is more serious than we think. Oh, that's the same one. Hang on. God, I'm unorganized. This guy sucks. But I actually have some really, really interesting shit here today to show you. All right. So this is Kyle's, Ukraine's apparently hit air bases deep inside Russia with drones smuggled in by truck. Russia's apparently retaliating on Kiev as we speak. World War III looms large. Things will appear to escalate. The damage, of course, is and will be far, far less than you think. Purpose of this movie is to wake up the world to the genocidal deep state and fix problems once and for all. You are being forced to take notice. You are being forced to demand an end to the madness. Importantly, the financial system needs to transition. See why it's important to demand an end to the madness? Understand Trump and Putin have total control. Russia is at no risk. Current events are necessary. Israel may well attack during this fog, and if so, will be backfire bigly. It reminds me of one other post I found today. So I always told you guys Iran's just a controlled country. I thought this was interesting. I don't know if this necessarily means anything or not, but could these be the real Five Eyes? Israel, Iraq, India, Iran, and Italy. Why would that be the case? I don't know particularly, but I know that Iran and Iraq probably at this point are very much controlled nations. India, I don't know where India really plays into that, but I don't know. It's kind of off topic anyway. But then, anyway, back to these. This bow seems to be a little more on the we may all be reaching the precipice. Russia places nuclear forces on high alert. Unconfirmed but mounting reports indicate this is not a drill. I mean, it's interesting the difference in these kinds of posts you're going to get on here. The sky is falling. The sky is not falling. The sky is definitely not falling, but okay. Very unorganized, guys. It's okay. Where do I want to go next with this? Since this ties into what we were talking about yesterday, let's play this. This is what would have been what we didn't watch of yesterday's conversation. And I don't think it, I think it's the stuff that wasn't on YouTube. So I don't know. The way we went into the whole Trump post thing, I feel like we kind of need to play it through, sort of, or not play it through. Actually, it's more like it's more like trying to climb out of the freaking sand trap. Yeah, okay. Let's play this.
What you've always talked about is coming to fruition with this next phase of the operation. I guess the next phase of this operation is for Trump to be a little more bold and validate everything that the quote unquote QAnons have always been talking about, and especially you leading the charge. I don't know anybody else talking about this except you, Juanito, for the longest time. And he's validating everything you've ever said, like point blank, like no doubt about it.
Well, it's like I've told a story a number of times. I had a friend, Judson Cornwall. He was a, tent meeting evangelist, and he was the real deal. And in an era where there's lots of people that, they put on a great show, but it's a mile wide, a millimeter deep. He was real deal. And he talked about when he was growing up, his parents had a turkey farm, and he hated turkeys. They were just so dumb, in his opinion. And, their nostrils are on the top of their beak. It starts to rain. They just stand there in the rain and drown to death, right? But he'd tell the story fairly frequently about how you could take a turkey, he'd put a rope over a turkey's neck, stand on either side of the rope, holding the turkey in place. And it'd flop around because there's a rope holding its neck to the ground. And it'd flop and push and, squabble and everything else. And after about, 30, 40 seconds, a minute, it calmed down and it just lay there. And you could take the rope off its neck and kind of jostle it around your foot, kind of kick at it a bit. The turkey was so dumb, he didn't know the rope wasn't still there. So he just sit there and take it and take it and take it. You could kick him pretty hard. He wasn't going anywhere. And he said, in order to break that turkey out of the trance, you'd have to pick it up and drop kick it like a football in order to get it to realize what it perceived as its reality wasn't reality at all. We've been conditioned to accept certain things. Look, let me hit the third rail. And that was exactly the way it was put to me and someone else back when we were dealing with Oklahoma. It's the third rail. you touch that and try to go at the truth, it will not be tolerated. The powers that be will not tolerate it.
I mean, people are thinking that Trump's crazy right now. I mean, there's
Okay, hold on, Nina. Let me help you out here for a second.
Okay.
I'm saying the opposite is true. Who's the crazy person? The ones that are under the spell and can't see the reality all around them in the matrix, or the one that's trying to kick them in the ass and get them to understand what's really going on. Everybody here in this audience, my guess is even people that want to live in denial at some level know there was something completely unhinged wrong that Biden would ever be in the president's office. The people that wanted to back him as a great president, he's doing a really good job. Everybody in this audience, you gotta wonder about that person.
Well,
Seriously?
Hold on, Juanito. Most people can sit here and say, most people listening to this will be like, okay, I can understand. I can swallow the pill that Biden didn't really win the 2020 election and Trump won it, no doubt. Okay, that I can handle. But you're going to tell me that the real Biden was executed and there was a fake Biden in a fake White House? That's where we're going to lose a lot of people.
Well,
you get what I'm saying? Like that part.
Hold on. Let's lose. If we're going to lose them, let's throw them overboard in the deep water. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Let them tread water. So the question really is, we know that things were put out to the public which defy logic, which cannot be real, such as Biden's hand passing through the microphone while he's supposedly being asked a question just before or after he got off of Marine One on the White House front lawn. And that wasn't a green screen. Of course it was a green screen. And then the question is, multiple other images that you saw of Biden in circumstances that made no sense. Bicycle Biden with clip-on toe clips. Bicycle Biden. Oh, he fell down. Excuse me? That was really the real Biden? Look, you can go through, and there's been some great work done by some of the folks that are out there. I tip my hat to them, doing the before and after images of Biden. I don't believe personally that the Biden that I certainly interacted with in the 90s is the Biden that we have seen recently. There's something off in the appearance that is more than just age.
But he's confirming that he was executed. I mean, Trump retruthed that. I mean,
what I want people to slow down and think about is you have literally the person that, for all intents and purposes, is the most powerful human on the planet in many ways. You can have an argument of, secret handshake people you don't know the name of that are pulling pins behind the scenes, people in the breakaway, because ultimately that's part of what we're really dealing with. It's the main issue. You have a breakaway. You were asking me about the AI stuff. Well, who's really operating the AI in a Mission Impossible type of a mentality scenario? I've been talking about that with audiences back to the 80s, okay, in various situations and hosts that you know the names of behind the scenes. The breakaway is a real thing, and they have a very specific plan. So then you look at their machinations out into the rest of the world, and the way that we're expected to accept reality to be, and it's the two are not the same. There's something completely off. What Trump is doing, he's giving you a kick in the ass. Remember, it didn't start with Biden on some of these issues. If you want to go to the execution, the only way Biden could have been executed was with President Trump's knowledge. He was the commander-in-chief in 2020.
Well, this happened on Trump's watch, so Trump had him executed.
Trump would have been aware. You can't say had him executed. If that was the case, there would have been a tribunal. It would have been a secret tribunal, and then some type of judgment issued. Remember, we have somebody whose name we never speak, who supposedly died of brain cancer, right on schedule. Okay.
Who was that died of brain cancer?
John McCain.
That's right.
Okay. But even people close to him on the evening of his death talked about him being assassinated. So that's a bizarre thing. Well, wait a second. On time? Well, why were they using these types of terms? There was a political side. Was there some type of treasonous activity? He was given an out. Who delivered the one to the head? If it's self-administered, and a backup to make sure it was the deed was done. There's all sorts of bizarre things out there that people they have to do mental gymnastics over. But as bizarre as those things are, let me go back where I was a minute ago when I started to say it. I want people to think this through. Oklahoma City absolutely, positively could not possibly have happened the way you were told. And you were sold. See, you were sold that it was done by internal terrorists seeking to terrorize America from within and have a breakaway within. And yet we know there's other things even now coming out. They always had a video, showed that there was more than one person in the truck when it was driven into town. Why were all of the papers related to the drug trafficking and money laundering taken from Arkansas and other southern jurisdictions and put in Oklahoma City building in the weeks prior to the explosion so it could all be blown to smithereens? And then the Senate Banking Oversight Committee not have any material to look at. And even when the building wasn't completely demolished, why not go in there and get the rest of the records out? Oh, the building was too unsafe. We're just going to push it into the ground. Were you able to go get the corpses out? And you couldn't just grab some boxes of the records, stabilize it somehow, just knock the building down and go in. Even if you knock the building down and it's collapsed completely, you can go in and grab the boxes out. We retrieve stuff all the time. It's all bullshit. 9/11, complete, total bullshit what you were sold. Trump said during the first campaign, before I'm done, you will know exactly who brought these buildings down. And it's nothing of what you've been told. And let me tie 9/11. By the way, just before I say it, we had a surveillance aircraft, high altitude surveillance aircraft based on U-2 TR-1 that flew over Oklahoma City, magically happened to be flying over Oklahoma City exactly when the bomb blew up. It's a big country. How is that timed so it happened with exacting precision? Who does this stuff that, again, how big does this go? How many people could possibly be involved? How extensive is the network that's managing us? Because what came out of, Oklahoma City in the lead up into 9/11, the Patriot Act, everything in your life revolves around the Patriot Act. Your travel, your banking, every piece of your life, and then the surveillance that's going on across the country.
What about this new artificial intelligence that Trump is putting through Planeteer?
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
What the hell is that?
What is the purpose?
Everyone's talking about that right now.
Okay, and what is the purpose? In reality, when you're doing a fight, the best weapon system to attack another weapon system is something of the same type. So in a ship type of environment, the best means to attack or defend is another ship. Same thing with aircraft. Aircraft are the best platform to defend against other aircraft. You're in a world, whether you like it or not, do not attempt to adjust your set. You're in the twilight.
Yeah, but I mean,
the outer limit.
Juan, he just gave that Peter Thiel guy, whatever his name is it Thiel?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like putting all American, everyone is involved in this database, all Americans. I mean, this is beyond an overreach of privacy. This is Patriot Act 2.0. And what is Trump? How is Trump?
Well, hold on a second. Let's try it with, for example, the Real ID. People stomping their feet don't want the Real ID, the star on the side of the thing verified. But in an environment where we've been invaded and you got to start weeding out who's real and who isn't.
Yeah, but
Real
that sounds
idea,
like problem, reaction, solution to me.
and again, I get all of that. I understand the Hegelian dialectic extremely well. But there is a valid side to, live in the modern world. Or do you want to still go into battle on horseback with a javelin? With a sword?
This is like Minority Report stuff, man. This is like pre-crime stuff.
Again, if we're going to have control of our country and understanding,
I know everyone's getting pissed off because I'm interrupting you right now, but hold on, wait a second, time out. Yeah, Trump's only in office another 3 years. Once he's gone, who's going to be in control of this? You get what I'm saying? Like, okay, so the good guys in control of it right now. Who's going to be after him, and can we trust that person? Maybe good for Trump right now, but after Trump, who do we know? We don't know who's going to be next, and then after them, and then after them, and then after them. This is ultimately going to fall into the wrong hands.
Well, again, it's a trust but verify situation. So part of the responsibility here is that the American people get their ass kicked hard enough to wake up that they won't let power centralize and stay centralized the way it is. The Constitution is a decentralizing document. It allows no function or power of government to be done at any higher level than that which is necessary in order to accomplish its specific purpose in its lane. And yet the Constitution has been nullified and bypassed primarily by two things: central taxation with the IRS and the centralized money printing, not by the Treasury, but by the Federal Reserve, a private corporation, by the way. The IRS is also a private corporation, both of them with Puerto Rico as their base and offices, courts have found. So with that in mind, all of the money being spent, everything going on has been centralized to the federal government and easy to bribe and buy off and control. You're going to have to rip power back to the states and the individuals, and that's a component of why we don't want to do anything too weird with TINA. We want the states to be strong, but we also don't want them to be tyrants. And so there's issues there that posse comitatus, et cetera, in coming in with the military intervention. It'll happen, but it can't happen too soon. But there's a process. All of that said, Nino, in this modern era, you're going to have equipment to counter some of the equipment being sent at us that can work at the speed of light and do calculations and come to decisions, and or you'll be the tribe of natives standing in front of a hail of bullets with magic voodoo powder on your chest and warding off the lead coming at you with spiritual energy. Okay.
Well, Juan, let me ask you this. now that Trump is dropping these hints, these massive comms, I'm blunt and in your face. What's next? What happens from here? Now that people are getting up to speed on like, okay, this guy's either a nut or he's dead serious. And we obviously know he's dead serious. What happened?
This was not, you have to think about this. Within, Trump's a smart guy. Do you think that he did this frivolously?
No.
He had a little bit of chili today and it caused a gaseous fart, went to his brain, and he somehow lost his mind. The most powerful person elected into office by a nation of his peers to help lead the way. And all of a sudden, has he got Oldheimer's? Has he gone Biden on us? Or is there something else going on? And my contention would be that he is stirring the pot. He's causing people to have a conversation. Just like we're having, Nino.
But
he's giving the basis for a conversation.
But it's not going to hit the mainstream media.
No, hold on, Nino. Let's shift paradigms. We already know that even the general public is listening less and less to anything approaching the mainstream media. You and I do shows and get more people watching a show than CNN has. Think about that.
Yeah,
and we're at the edge of the net. There's other bigger stuff. There's other bigger players out there. They're coming to subject matter like we're talking about right now, but they've played the game for the most part, avoided certain subject matter that we sometimes are able to get to on the back channel like that, or I'll allude to on the front.
Frustrating. That's what's frustrating. Is that all?
Okay, but
we
Nino,
were first, man.
Let me just say this. It's moving to a general conversation. See, how do you bypass AI? You're all concerned about AI. How do you bypass AI? How do you bypass the fraudulent computer vote, by the way, and other things? You do it person to person. When you and I have a direct conversation without any machines in the way, we may use machines for portions of that conversation to communicate, but the machines aren't interpreting and digesting and then regurgitating whatever we say between us. If we're having a direct conversation, that's different than just being programmed. It's not like the TV; it's a one-way thing. There's no two-way to it. You bypass the AI by going person to person. And when Trump puts this kind of a message out there, people talk, they communicate. Why did he do it on a Saturday instead of a Wednesday? Because as a general rule, people have more time on the weekends. If you just look at the numbers, the majority of them, a significant percentage greater have a Saturday afternoon, evening off to talk person to person. And so he put something out there that would stir a conversation and focus it in a way that, 99.9999999% of the people that are talking about this subject right now would be talking about 59 Fords, hot babes with nice décolleté, the latest video game, going to Mission Impossible, doing something else. The last thing on their mind would be the programming and the control that come from a false presidency. But they're talking about it right now, and then they're having to do the mental gymnastics. Is Trump sane, or is he gone mad? And if he's gone mad, what do we do about it? If he's sane, what are you going to do about it? See, we have to make decisions. A line is being drawn.
He can't say anything more than this. I mean, I'm sure there is, but It seems like you're saying this, now you got to show us.
Well, again, and this
Otherwise,
is
he will
something
look
that we've struggled with.
look like a wackadoodle-doo if he doesn't.
Hold on a second. We've struggled with the audience on this for quite a while. And so let me say it again. You have to have consensus amongst the governed to do it without causing internal unrest, distress, that ultimately, if the numbers are too even, can lead to civil war. So people have to pick a side. They see enough proofs of things. They see enough things that lead them to a certain conclusion, but they won't step over the line. They won't make that final decisive, okay, this is where I'm at. They won't pick a side decisively. They're still going to observe and watch. This is intended to cause the types of conversations amongst people like your audience, specifically, Nino, that will then be emboldened enough, because it's not just real raw news. It's not just for entertainment purposes only. This is the most powerful person on the planet, at least within the public purview, representing the most powerful people on the planet in the bird dog position, and saying something, repeating something that is actually, if it's not true, if it's, complete silliness, is, I would contend, is, it's dangerous, it's unhealthy, and it damages the psyche of the people, because now you're encouraging some kind of mental psychosis. If it is true, and we have a lot of things that tell us that lots of what we've believed aren't true, we're being sold a bill of goods. If he's just said something so completely audacious, yet it's true, that's a kick in the ass.
Right.
And you turkeys better start flapping your wings or you're going to have a hard landing.
I just don't understand how this is going to culminate into, how the hell is this going to turn into public tribunals for Obama?
No.
I mean,
Nino,
how is this all?
Nino.
I'm just already over there.
I need to go out and get Barbara to help you out again. Okay.
No,
Nino.
I'm just saying, how is it going to get there? How is it going to?
No, I'm trying to tell you. You have to bring the public along. They've got to have the conversation. They have to logically reason their way through this and come to the right conclusion. You have all the evidence there.
So we should expect more of these drops from Trump then, a lot more.
With
He's
what
gonna have to.
purpose? With what purpose? To provide the kind of material specifically to audiences like yours, Nino, that allow them to challenge people around them to think again and to connect the dots.
So what do we do? What do we do with the MSN? Because they're going to fight him tooth and nail. They're going to call him crazy. They're going to call him wackadoodle. What do? We shut it down?
No, I want them to talk more. You understand that the more that they talk, that the scripture is, out of the words of a man's mouth, the intent of his heart is revealed. Okay? So you learn what's going on in a person's heart the more they talk. So that's why you do interviews of people. That's why, interrogations take a long time. You let them explain themselves, and then they say things that start to be contradictory, and then you point it out, and then eventually you start getting to the truth. You get inside their comfort zone. They're sitting at the desk, and you move right up close to them in the chair and get right up in their face. And they got to decide, do they want to keep trying to tell a lie, or do they want you to move back by starting to tell the truth and explaining what really happened, give their version. Right now, for the American people, Trump is trying to get to their mind, which is heavily programmed. The people around Trump, the entire operation, is to break the programming. You're all MK Ultra victims. The plan to program the American people and people across the world has been going on not just for decades, but for well over 100 years in the modern era, to get you to believe things that aren't true, that suit this control group's purposes, to get you to march in lockstep. It's like propaganda in a wartime condition. You get everybody and their mother and their little sister and everybody else to work together. I'll use the example of a lot of the metal scrap that was collected, all the garbage during the war effort in World War I and World War II. A lot of that stuff, they just took out in the ocean and dumped it after they went to all the trouble of getting it. Only the biggest stuff, the car chassis line, the whole country was cleaning up the, any scrap metal they had like that and turning it in to help the war. But in reality, not that much of that material was actually used. It was in large measure a propaganda effort to get people to decide to work together, to decide to make decisions, to cooperate and feel good that they did something. So they did something that seemed like it was really helping. Plus, it cleaned their yard up and got things moving again. And it was really just propaganda. You're being propagandized, but for somebody else's war, to do somebody else's bidding. They want us to do their reset for the world, destroy the majority of the population off this planet. 13 out of 14 people dead. That's what the Georgia Guidestones wanted.
Right.
13 out of 14 people alive now dead. And who would be left? Just the devil's minion, their little secret handshake society families. But they wouldn't have the bad karma on them of killing you, because we would kill each other. That's their goal. That's the devil's goal. He just, asked the question, people went off their way. I mean, that's why at the great white throne judgment, Satan, Lucifer, the devil, the green man, goes by 1,000 names. He's brought before the entirety of humanity, the world, everyone that's ever lived. And in this great audience, a murmur goes through the crowd. This is what the scripture says. Who is this? Who is this worm? Is this the one for whom the nations went to war? Is this the one for whom all the murders, the death happened? It's a serpent. It's a worm. Why do they portray themselves as dragons? Because we're their arms and legs if we do the devil's bidding. His whole way of operating is through psychosis, to capture your mind, your thoughts, to get you to do certain things. Eve wasn't raped, okay? Eve was beguiled, which has sexual innuendo. So she was a participant willingly. If she'd been raped, she wouldn't have been guilty of the sin if she'd been opposing it,
Right.
but she was in agreement, okay? Because she was beguiled, she was fooled. The whole world's been fooled continuously. You were just fooled. That's why I said, I raise it once in a while, and I know it just drives people out of their tree. But the Paul McCartney today is not the Paul McCartney the Beatles started with. And an entire fiction had to be created around that. You've believed the moon landings occurred as they were shown to you, and it's not true. And that Oklahoma City was a lone bomber when he had all sorts of assistance. And we have the guys who actually were also offered to do the same job, government contractors. Okay, that was not what really happened. The 9/11 bombing and many other false flags that have occurred. Why did they occur? Because we're being programmed to accept certain controls. You're worried about the AIs. Well, Homeland Security is the basis for having a surveillance society.
Let me ask you this one. With these mass deportations that are happening right now, which, there's a lot of stings and raids happening in El Paso right now. I get them all over the doorbell, the doorbell ring community on my phone. They're always talking about raids happening here, raids happening in this apartment complex. So I know it's happening, but how is Trump gonna really, because right now it's not even making a dent. How is he?
Oh, no. Hold your horses 1 second. You're going in and clipping a lot of the worst of the worst. Remember, within minutes of Trump's inauguration ceremony beginning, while he was still speaking, people immediately in my presence were getting texts to report they had orders for deployment, military personnel. And those people were the ones that went out, and the first thing they went after was the gang leaders of the most horrific of the terroristic gangs in America. Trump signed the executive order designating them as terrorist groups, and their leaders could then be picked up. And then we used military supporting civilian or justice personnel, policing personnel, to go pick those people up. And many of them are already at Gitmo, and they were shown going to Gitmo, getting on the plane, getting off the plane at Gitmo, not hidden. Okay? And why am I saying that? Because this process of going in and picking up a lot of the low-hanging fruit, what's it also done? I mentioned this on your show the other day. I have a person that has done body work for me for a number of years. I had no idea that he was not here legally. No idea. He's lived here for probably 20 years. And worked for a major company full-time and did some stuff on their own in the background and part-time. And he's packed up his entire family. Had one of my cars that had to be delivered to another location because he wasn't going to be able to finish it, doing some major restoration work. Well, why is that? Because they're all going back to Mexico. All of them are here illegally, and they want the kids and grandkids to be able to come back to America, but do it legally. And if they get deported, they cannot come back the rest of their
that may be
lives.
some people, but I'm on the board.
No. This is
people.
In talking about this, there's a lot of people doing that. What are you really doing, Nino? You're reducing the overall number.
That's not what's happening.
And what's also happening, these people that are here and are leaving, they're also having the communications within the community and having the conversation, thinking about on what basis do I be gone. Now, let me also add this, Nino, and this is a very important point. You have to consider this. I'm giving you the 50,000, 100,000 foot view. Okay, I'm not going out to geocentric orbit, but I'm giving you a pretty good idea. Part of the deal is Trump hasn't even got 1/2 of the appointments that he's seeking over at the Justice Department. They aren't even up to speed yet. They're being opposed left and right.
So right now, what's taking so long is that they're still cleaning out the CIA, the FBI, the DOJ. I mean, I would imagine they're peeling back the layers of the onion and seeing that.
Let me. Okay, you guys want to have? I'm going to give you reason to wring your hands. Okay, Nino, get the cream out, because this is a very serious portion of the conversation, and I'm dead ass serious here on this. Even right now, over the last few days, even we have people that are doing extremely, excruciatingly important work related to the election stuff, 2020, 2022, 2024, who are now sweating bullets because they're concerned that a lot of the people in federal agencies are still there and they haven't been moved out yet. They haven't taken the retirement. They haven't given up. And Trump people haven't been able to get in and replace them very quickly. Think of it this way, and this is a specific part of the conversation. Tulsi Gabbard is the Director of National Intelligence. The Director of National Intelligence office is the 17th office in Homeland Security. There's 16 other investigative agencies of the U.S. federal government within Homeland Security, like FBI, CIA, NSA, DEA. All these various agencies, National Reconnaissance Office runs the satellites, things like that. All of these agencies report to Tulsi Gabbard. Now, if you remember, Trump signed an executive order September 18th of 2018, or 18th, I think it was the 18th, 13848, that said that in all future federal elections, that Homeland Security, Director of National Intelligence, was to use all available assets to watch for foreign interference in any future federal elections from that point forward. When the 2020 election happened, the Director of National Intelligence was ordered by that executive order to provide the president and certain key members of House and Senate with a report if there was any foreign interference, indications of foreign interference in the election. 42 days after the election, Director of National Intelligence Radcliffe made some statements in the media saying that he was most likely not going to be able to provide the report at the 45-day time, which would have been December 18th, 2020, to President Trump, because the heads of several agencies in Homeland Security had refused to provide their work product to him, their conclusions whether there was foreign interference in the election. Therefore, he never provided that report to the president on December 18th. That's when Patrick Byrne, Mike and Joe Flynn, Sidney Powell, a couple of other people were in the Oval Office and tried to get Trump to agree to have Sidney Powell write up a modern version of the Insurrection Act for Trump to look over and sign. I initially agreed, and then it came out in J6 hearings that after talking to the military personnel advisors available to him overnight, in the wee hours of the 19th of December in the morning, he was advised not to do so, not to allow an Insurrection Act document to be created, let alone reviewed by him and signed or not signed for legal reasons, not even let it be created. Because it would, by degrees, lead to civil war in America, and within months. And on that advice, he decided not to proceed with the creation of the Insurrection Act document. Radcliffe didn't provide that report until after, and it was incomplete then, till after January 6th, when Congress certified the election and received the electors, certified the election. Why is that important in what I'm saying here? In the current situation over at Homeland Security, Trump has replaced multiple agency heads, FBI, CIA, NSA. We had him kicked out a few weeks ago. Tulsi Gabbard's in there in the position where Radcliffe was at. But you know what? a lot of the players involved in very serious operations are saying that work product is not being provided to those agencies' heads, such as the Tulsi Gabbard type. And let me use one example. The FBI, Pam Bondi, when she took office, because President Trump told her to release the Epstein documents, information, Pam Bondi contacted the FBI officials. Kash Patel was not in office yet, hadn't been nominated or his appointment agreed to. She asked for all the Epstein documents, which at that time, as we knew it, were at the Southern District of New York. She did not get the materials she asked for. She asked for everything. She got like 1.5 inches of papers. And she says, this is nothing. There's nothing here. I want everything, the evidence, everything. I want all the Epstein stuff, the names, the logs, everything, so I can do what President Trump told me to do. She didn't get it. After several weeks, Kash gets into office. She sends a letter. It sounds very, very terse, but it's just, the way it had to be done. She wasn't attacking Kash. Kash hadn't done anything wrong. She says, I haven't gotten the Epstein documents and information. Your offices are withholding them from me, and I am essentially demanding them now. So Kash takes the Tiger team down. They go kick in the doors down at Southern District in New York, grab a couple truckloads of documentation. Even then, they didn't get everything. And they figured out, because somebody was singing, was trapped, and birds sing when they're trapped in the bird cage. And so they sang away, and they figured out where the rest of the documents were, and they went and found that stuff. Now they're pouring through it, because not everybody that went to Epstein Island, even the people who went down freely on the jet or other ways, went there to do the nefarious deeds. The whole point was to honeypot and to blackmail and to bribe. And so there was a number of people that didn't.
Yeah, but there's people on the jet that went multiple times.
Okay, but hold on.
Wasn't RFK one of them?
No. You have to weed out that he was on the jet. Didn't mean he went to that location. But even there, you had Stephen Hawking that went down to the island. What did he do? Okay. We know there was a lot of stuff that happened that was over the top and indefensible. But before you release it, you do have to take the time and weed through it and at least know what you know for real, not as a guess. And so that they're taking time to cross the T's and dot the I's is not wrong. Okay. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. And not being irresponsible, just throwing stuff out there that they don't actually have precise, full knowledge of exactly what transpired and who may have been a victim that was being blackmailed, brought down there for purposes of blackmail. So let's at least find out. And even if their names are disclosed, they'll have a chance to explain themselves and show, give their version of what transpired.
On Dan Bongino coming out and saying that Epstein did kill himself.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's many things yet to be revealed. Okay. And again, what they're talking about is within the records that they've seen, what they're aware of, what they know. This is what the record shows. If they don't, they're in a position as senior agency leadership. Would it be responsible for them to tell you from their official position, their opinion, or what they actually know and can prove? If they have an opinion from a public standpoint, they need to be responsible enough to restrict that opinion to themselves and within the office that they
I
hold.
just don't know how we're going to know what's real and what's fake now, because AI is just taking off, and it's just like.
Well, hold on a second. Even there, we can tell.
Our eyes are going to deceive us.
Hold on, Nino. Within that area, we're pretty good. We can tell exactly what was AI. It's not perfect, but we can do it. So anyway,
Well, Juanito, let's end this here so I can put this up on .tv, and the YouTube video just finished, and there now people are gonna want to watch this. So let me get this up on .tv right now.
all right, bro.
Well, that finished quick. That's been a while. So RFK, yeah, he did say he rode that airplane once on like a hour-long flight or something less. Yeah, it was like 30, 35 years ago before people really, I mean, knew everything, I'm sure, but probably, yeah. To your question, Starfire, probably. I liked this interview. It was good what Juan said there about the point being to have these conversations. And they're conversations that are going to have to be had over and over again and again. And they have been had over and over again and again. And you know, I'm at a point personally where I've been listening to all kinds of different people trying to pick up different things that connect and connect dots. And sometimes it's hit and miss. It's like sometimes you overshoot the target, sometimes you're undershooting the target, and you're like, you're overthinking it, you're underthinking it. It's certainly not boring, I guess, to me. I don't know, but can be frustrating at times. I think what Juan was trying to say about opinions there, hopefully, though, is that I don't think you have to keep your opinions to yourself, but I think you have to be responsible for your opinions, is what he's saying, which is why I wish I could contain mine as much as I would like to think I do. But buffering, that's not good. Is it buffering? So, other than that, I think it can definitely be both, though. Like some of what Nino was asking there, I get why he's asking it. Some of it seemed more like overthinking, I guess. I don't know. I think when he talks about working with people at like Palantir, for instance, I think you got to ask the same thing you would ask about the Joe Biden situation. Is it even the same actual person running the company? Number one. Number two, have they been put in their place and decided to work with the white hats? Or they worked with the white hats all along undercover? It's different cases for each person that this sort of question comes up for, as far as I've seen. So all I'm saying is it's different ways to look at things, different ways to read between the lines what you're hearing, whether it's from Trump or any of them. which is, still, I guess I'm still frustrated about the other day because I think we were asking questions, but it just went too wild with it. You can only try and answer so many things in one day, and we were talking about a lot of different things. But you have to ask a lot of questions about that 4-year period. You should. And I think he's right in the sense, again, that as long as people are having the conversation, it'll slowly get there, even if the answer gets chiseled towards a little further every cycle it happens. Maybe everyone gets a little closer and that it gets there, but it doesn't get there at all if you don't have these conversations. So I don't think any question is a bad question. All right. How long have we been on? Let me see what I've got left here. And yeah, the Trump thing is just like with the Diddy thing. I don't know if I showed that earlier. What came up first was this. 50 Cent says he will speak to Donald Trump about Diddy pardon. And I seriously thought he's, going to try and get Trump to pardon Diddy. But, when you look for the story on YouTube, this is all you find. 50 Cent vows to stop President Trump from pardoning Diddy. Like, that's really ever was going to happen. And then they had to go into explaining why that wouldn't happen.
They're wasting a lot of money if they're going to continue with that nonsense.
And this one's a little bit more of a page 6 question, but back when you hosted The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up. From what I read, I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. It's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So it's not a popularity contest. So, I don't know.
Even if he said something like that back then, I mean, really, what do you think those relationships are worth at that kind of, I'm at this little Hollywood party or this New York penthouse party, and I ran into this famous person, and we're friends now. Like, I don't know. I mean, that doesn't... I don't know. It doesn't mean much to me. It doesn't strike me as odd, but you never know, I suppose. What are my dogs barking at? Let me see if I had some other things. They were doing the same with Elon. Bono's 300,000 dead people claim over the U.S. aid cuts. They had to talk about that.
To codify Doge's cuts. For more, let's bring in GOP Nebraska Congressman Mike Flood. Congressman, thanks for joining us this afternoon. When Elon Musk promises that his Doge is going to permeate government as he leaves Washington, what kind of a form do you think that's going to take?
Well, look at what he's done at Doge. He's done a remarkable job of rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. In the rescissions package, I think the first tranche of that, which is coming over this week, is is evidence that what he's done is historic. In 30 years, we haven't had this kind of a conversation about waste, fraud, and abuse and federal spending and where do your dollars go. Just look at what he did with USAID. He rooted out all that woke stuff that was going overseas, things that Americans don't want to support. And so I think this is the beginning, and the whole conversation in Congress is changed because of it.
The Florida governor had some criticism for the big, beautiful bill and the package that you guys passed a short while ago. He wrote, quote, he, Elon Musk, became public enemy number one of legacy media around the world. To see Republicans Congress cast aside any meaningful spending reductions and, in fact, fully fund things like USAID is demoralizing and represents a betrayal of the voters who elected them. So these cuts that are now coming from the White House, why did they miss getting put in the first bill?
Well, you got to remember, reconciliation, the process that has the big, beautiful bill, is only for mandatory spending. Much of what DOJ has looked at is the discretionary spending. So you got to get your facts straight when you're making comments like that, because this is far more complicated than just doing it in reconciliation. It takes a focus on the discretionary spending, which we will start with this week.
Well, discretionary spending isn't part of that, is part of the big, beautiful bill, isn't it? Or you have not, Congress hasn't passed the discretionary portion? Because mandatory spending is.
Okay, moving on from the financial stuff. Let me see what I got left, and we'll debate whether you want me to save it for later or go with it now. There are a few other stories here we can look at real quick. This election interference story was pretty good.
He has learned that the mayor of Camilla and two former election officials were indicted today on charges including conspiracy to commit election fraud.
This comes after a grand jury found that Kelvin Owens, Cheryl Ford, and Runette Williford conspired to, quote, prevent elections from occurring on November 5th of 2024, contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof, end quote.
WALB News 10's Ashanti Isaac spoke with residents today who say they are standing by the city and the election officials no matter what.
Residents in the city of Camilla are now calling for justice in the indictment against Mayor Kelvin Owens, Cheryl Ford, and Runette Williford, saying that they were wrongfully arrested. Some residents even saying that it used to be innocent until proven guilty, but in this case, they believe it's guilty until proven innocent.
He need to be free. We support Mayor Owens. We support the city
You
manager.
know, it's a little different when you're a public figure and you take an oath, okay? Yes, everyone deserves fair trial, innocent till proven guilty. But you know, there's always going to be scrutiny when you're a public official. It's taking an oath. That's just kind of how that goes. All right. Let me try and see. I'm probably gonna save this for later tonight, most of what I have here, but might end up having a long night tonight. One last weird video, and then I'll let you guys go till tonight. It's just a weird it's one of those things you come across that you're like, you don't know what to label it as. Find myself asking all kinds of questions these days, but tonight I still do have some pretty good stuff to look at and some more stuff from some other guys out there that are talking about the recent events that are happening, and we'll watch some of that tonight. We'll see what's going on with this Russia-Ukraine stuff and any other stuff going on today. I saved a couple things. I wonder if I should read this real quick. I forgot about this stupid post. I think I forgot about a few posts. It's yeah. It's just explaining why the thing in Russia wasn't that big, I guess. People were calling it the Russian Pearl Harbor, if you remember some of the news stories yesterday. God, the news is wild right now. I've never quite seen it this insane. Yeah. So I'll let you guys go for now. We'll keep this semi-short for a change. But yep, we'll be back at it tonight, and we'll do the same thing. Ask the questions, have the conversation. It's good somebody's having the conversation. That's all we need, is people to just keep having the conversations, really. We'll get it down. Yep. Alrighty, guys. I will see you all later this evening. Stay out of trouble. Don't be a sheep. Sheep no more. You like that? Sheep no more? Yeah. I'll see you guys this evening. God bless you.